Hi everyone, Lunaya again. I figured I'd talk a little more about stones and crystals. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I used to do as far as healing went. So let's start with a couple of stones that I have that are really rare. I got these from a gentleman I used to work with at a magazine called Magical Blend. And he went to Iceland. His name was Lee. And he went to Iceland, and in Iceland they have a beach, and on that beach they have certain minerals that they have nowhere else in the world. And there are these stones that they let this group take because they were all with magazines, and so they let them take them, and there's a male and a female in each set that they allowed them to take. And so this is the female. You can see that it's a fat stone, and this is the male. So the female is fatter because it's considered to be like a pregnant. It's to stand for a pregnant type meaning, and then the male is of course thinner. And so the two of them together make a good healing team, because of the minerals based in them. They explained it all, so I'll explain it to you. The minerals found in them are concentrated, they're concentrated in healing of the heart and the mind. So they join the two. The heart and the spirit. So they join the two. So whereas the spirit might be fluttering about and not solid, and the heart may be solid but not fluttering about, it brings the two together so that there's a harmony in the spirit and the heart, or the body, so to speak, the grounding part of the heart, and it brings them together so that they're in balance. And so it was great for me to use in my crystal healing, because I could bring everyone in balance with just two stones. If there was an imbalance in that part of their being. And I had told you that I had a stone, a jasper stone, that I could do a scan with of the body, and I just want to show you that right quick. And I am going to tomorrow do that video on my different healing techniques. But this is the jasper stone I was telling you about, that is a wand that I can do a scan of the body with, and it seems to be really good at that, at telling me where I need to work. So that's the wand. Okay, so both of those out of the way, I would start with my large obsidian. It is a mahogany obsidian. Regular black obsidian is a really strong stone. It can make all kinds of things happen. It brings such emotion to many people. It can cause a stomach ache. It can cause a headache. It is a very powerful stone. You want to be gentle with it, because and when you're around it, because it can bring someone's emotions just flooding out. It can really draw emotional pain and things that you've been hiding, the secrets of our inner deepest parts of us. It can draw all that right to the surface really quickly. So you want to be very careful with black obsidian. It's an extremely powerful stone. However, the obsidian that has the mahogany in it is much gentler. They're both very grounding stones, but the obsidian is gentler. It doesn't cause the stomach aches. It doesn't cause the headaches, and it normally is easier for people to be around. It still can cause that, and when I use it, I always make sure that it's not. If it does cause someone to feel a little loopy, there are stones that you can use to kind of balance that out. But this is the stone I start with, and I start with this because it's a grounding stone, and I want to ground them before I start making them feel lighter. If you make someone feel too flighty before you ground them, it can cause all kinds of goodies. So I start with my black obsidian, and well, my mahogany obsidian. So I start with that, and I place it right at the feet to start that grounding. I forgot something. Just one moment, it's right here. The next stone I place is my quartz, and I place that right at the head, and I place it high above the head because there are other stones I'm going to place close to the crown. So I place my quartz next. I do that because it's a polar opposite of the, sorry, I'm having trouble getting that to sit still. Okay. It's a polar opposite of the grounding stone. It kind of raises the vibration. So now you've got a polarization going on. You've got a nice raising of the vibration. You've got a nice grounding. So now I can start working the field. So the next stone that I would lay would be something on the throat chakra, which would normally be a purple fluorite. Nope. I'm sorry, I'm wrong about that. It would be a blue obsidian. You can't really see the color very well. The blue obsidian I would put on the throat chakra. I'm sorry. It's very blue. It's beautiful. And I would put on that on the throat chakra because it helps with speaking, and it helps with healing and tuning that throat chakra. So I would place that there. And I don't have it now because I've already packed it, but I would also place a blue lace agate there. A blue lace agate helps someone to say what needs to be said, to not always hold everything in. And it's important that we say what needs to be said and not hold it in. So I would also use a blue lace agate there. I could also use a Larimer stone, this stone, there to place on the throat chakra as well. So next I would place the throat chakra. The next stone that I would place would be one between the feet or just above the ankles, and that would be a jet. And the reason that I would place the jet stone next would be because it is another type of grounding stone. It is also a stone that alleviates fear and awakens the root chakra, but we don't want it too close. We want to keep it kind of back a little. So we would use a jet. I would use a jet next. Unless someone has adverse reactions to jet, and I have heard of that. So I always ask people about the stones before I place them anyway. So that would be the next stone I'd place. Then I would put Moki balls. I don't know if you've heard of them. Some people call them shaman balls or thunder balls. The next stones that I would place, they are iron sandstone. Sandstone, Navajo sandstone that has been ironized. And they're very heavy for their size, but they do a lot of healing, and I would place them in the hands because they bring calm. They bring about peace and calm. So the hands are normally at the side, nice and gently, and I would just place them in the hands. They don't have to be clasped. They could just be relaxed and have the Moki balls in the hands. So I would place those next in the hand. And then the next thing I would place would be the green and the okay, so I don't know if you can see that. This is a green fluorite, and I would place that right above the head, about that close to the head. And then I would place this one even closer to the head, and that is a fluorite with blue and purple. Well, it's blue, green, and purple. And those I'd place there because they help with the crown chakra. They help with, they help with tuning the crown chakra, and they help someone with their spiritual matters. And they also help to balance and they're going to help that grounding to kind of alleviate, and they're going to lift the vibration. And that's what I want to do. I want to lift the vibration. What I'm trying to do is lift a person's vibration, raise it as high as I can raise it without taking them too far out. And so I'm tuning chakras and I'm raising their vibrations. So that's why I'm placing fluorite near the crown chakra. So then the next thing I'm going to place is going to be 2 more small obsidian balls. And these are again, these are mahogany. And I'm going to place them right at knee level. And as soon as I place those, I'm going to place a red obsidian right at the root chakra. Now, of course, I'm not going to go right at the root chakra, but I'm going to get it as close as I can without being obscene. And then I'm going to let my client sit for about 15 to 20 minutes in a very low lit room, usually with just a salt lamp and some very light meditative music on, and the door shut. And that's like the gist of my crystal healing. Now, this is a basic crystal healing. This is no intuitiveness in there. There's normally a lot of intuitive healing going on, and there's usually about 10 more stones laid, and this is after a body scan. I haven't done a body scan at this point. This is just a basic crystal spread. I'm not even doing, there's no intuitiveness here, there's no scan going on here. This is just what I'm laying because yeah, I would probably have a whole lot more stones going on. So then after the 20 minutes has gone by, or 15 or 20 minutes, depends on what I feel they need, or if they have rung the bell. They have a small bell sitting right by their hands that they can ring. So depending on what's going on, then I enter the room again, and the first thing I do is remove the stones in the opposite manner in which I put them. So I remove all the stones except the large crystal and the large obsidian, mahogany obsidian. So before I remove the mahogany obsidian and the crystal, I then place I'm going to tell you the name right now, laboradite. And I place this because it brings the spirit back to the body. And I'm going to place it right in the stomach. You know what I forgot was the rose quartz, which I place on the heart of every client. And I forgot that. I don't even have it with me. But I have a nice, large, beautiful, raw rose quartz that I place on the heart of everyone. And I do that because it's a love stone, first of all, but second of all, because it tunes up the heart chakra. And I totally forgot it. It's sitting over there on my shelf, and I'm very sorry for that. But a rose quartz is a very beautiful pink crystal. Or stone. Anyway, I place the laboradite right on the stomach, which sometimes I have a salt crystal there too, but I remove that. I place the laboradite. And then in each hand, I place a hematite. And for the same reason, it brings the body and the spirit back together. So I place that in each hand. Then I remove first the opposite, remember, the big obsidian and then the big crystal. And sometimes I will leave the crystal after I remove the obsidian, depending on how they're feeling. If they're feeling kind of dizzy, then I'll leave the obsidian and remove the crystal first. It just depends. I do get a lot of clients that feel a little dizzy afterwards, so I will leave the obsidian a little longer because the obsidian will again ground them. Sometimes I'll remove both and just see how they feel and which one they need. If they're feeling heavy, they get the crystal. If they're feeling dizzy, they get the obsidian. And it just really depends on how the client is feeling, what is left. And then I remove the 2 hematites, the laboradite, and again, I see how they're feeling and whether or not they need to be grounded or have their vibration raised a little bit. And then normally that's the end of the session. I always give my clients a piece of chocolate when they're leaving. Chocolate grounds the body. and we make the next appointment and we go forward. Again, as I said, there would be a lot more crystals laid. I don't have a lot more unpacked. I have quite a few, but not of the stones that I use. I use garnet, I use ruby, I use emerald. Trying to think of everything I use. I use Apache tear quite often. I use the rose quartz. I use amethyst. Some of them I went over last time. I use jasper. Of course, I have a large raw jasper that I often use between the knees. Jasper is a terrific healing stone. Let's see. I use agate quite often. I use tourmaline. I don't have everything memorized anymore. I haven't done crystal healing in about a year and a half. I closed shop. Actually, it's been 2 years. And so I haven't done it in a while, but I would place a lot more stones. And so I hope that helped. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about these crystals or stones that I've mentioned, please let me know. I'd be happy to go over them again or go through the books with you. I actually have books that tell a lot more on each stone, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope it was informative, and that you liked hearing a little bit about crystal healing. And if you liked what you saw, please hit the thumbs up. Remember that you're all sacred. No, you're all divine sacred beings of light and love. And I love each and every one of you. Have a good night.